My name's Victoria Thomas, and this is our farm. My husband and I, we are working on building our regenerative farm, utilizing permaculture practices over here in the Kansas City, Kansas area. I today decided I'm going to start putting in our fall garden. I was going to start the video over in the garden, but I'm going to be putting in a trellis tonight. Well, half of the trellis. I'm going to put in the posts for the trellis. I'm out of zip ties, so I was like, well, I can prep the posts. I'm starting from seed, so it's not like the vines will be climbing up the trellis tomorrow or anything. I was going to start it over there, but then I was like, I don't know if everyone knows this little trick about pulling posts out of the ground. We were using these posts that I'm going to show you for fencing in our backyard for our dogs, but we realized we live in a very rocky area, so the posts right now are all different heights because when you hit rock you can't really like just go through them. So I'm just going to pull a couple posts to put where the trellis is going to go, and I just kind of wanted to show you. Okay. Post hole driver, snug it up. Actually, I prefer the weighted bottom to be on the bottom. Snug it up. And then you should be able to kind of get in a rhythm where you pull and then push it. There we go. And then push it to go to the next one under. Pop up. That next one under. Almost. And it's out. You should be able to, like you saw, like go pull on this one. When you push, lower it to the next one. Pull, lower to the next one. All right, so we're back over at the kitchen garden with the post I need for the trellis. And I'm gonna go over kind of what I'm planting outside right now. I will also add to this video the plants that I'm starting inside. It's not necessarily too early to start the fall garden. I think I'm like right in a good window, but there is some things that just won't survive outside the first 4 weeks just because we're still hitting 100-degree days. So it's just not gonna be the best. But I have started beets. I just kind of, it's like I said, a little warm, but if they work out, I'll have the first succession sowing done, which is nice. Succession sowing is where you plant your vegetables out in different time periods, like maybe a week apart or 4 days apart, in hopes, well, more like a week apart. That way all your harvest doesn't come in at once and you can, you know, every week be getting something. But for outside, I am starting with borage, which is not really, I don't think, common for a fall garden. I am doing it from the tea aspect. I want to have the flowers and potentially do a couple things with the leaves as well. I had planted them in the spring at our last garden, at our last home, but we bought this place and I didn't feel right digging up borage to come and plant out here. I also did choose this seed, the Komo Atsuna lettuce. It reads that it does well in the heat, so I'm just giving it a try. I'm always game for some leafy greens, and if they can handle the Kansas heat, then great. I'll have some cooler varieties inside being planted. Also, the final thing I'm planting outside right now is the butterfly pea. This is not really for the pea itself, it is for the flower. As you know, I hope to start a herbal business, specifically in the herbal tea realm. With these flowers, I have seen it where you take the flower and you can put them in hot water, you can also put them in other liquids, and it will dye the water or give it the blue color. Well, when you add an acid, like a lemon or a lime, any other kind of acidic item, it will turn the water pink, and it's really beautiful. So I wanted to give them a try to harvest the flowers, to dry, to see how they work in an herbal tea setting. So that's what we're going to be planting out today, and then we'll show you what I'm starting inside. Hey everyone, we're in my basement. It's actually the next day. By the time I got done with the outside garden, I came in, I was just really hot and tired, so I just put it off starting the seeds another day. I wanted to add this to the video because I feel as if I have a pretty efficient way on starting seeds, as well as I enjoy the way I like to start them for several reasons. I also wanted to show what I'm growing in the fall garden. I think it's kind of a gardener thing that you just always want to hear what other people are growing, just from the aspect of potentially learning about a new vegetable variety that you hadn't heard of, or like hearing what other people's successes or disappointments were. I always enjoy hearing that, so I was like, we'll just show you what I'm growing and starting. This first seed, it might be kind of it's one of my favorites. It might be kind of a weird favorite. Well, not weird. There's no weird vegetables out there. It's a matter of if you like it or if you don't like it. But I really love cabbage. I love roasted cabbage. I love sauerkraut. Anything with cabbage on, I'm usually happy to eat it. But I'm doing the Coeur de Boeuf cabbage, which Coeur de Boeuf actually translates to ox heart. I'm excited to grow this just because it looks really beautiful. I don't know if it'll make sauerkraut very well. I've actually never made sauerkraut. I'm hoping to try it this fall, or if not, next spring. You know, I want to try a lot of things, but in due time. I will be starting some Little Gem lettuce. Just some classic mint lettuce. I actually have a lot of lettuce that I'm starting, but there's a reason that I'm starting a lot more this fall. This next seed I'm growing, it's not because I absolutely love it. It's Merlot lettuce. It's actually not my favorite. I'm a sucker for a pretty garden. I think all the greens are really nice, but it's nice to see some red in there, have that little pop of color. So I'm just starting a few. I probably should put something else in that I enjoy eating, but why not? So this one kind of makes me laugh, and like you might have noticed, like a few of the things that I've like pointed out that I'm growing are small and compact. Well, that's because at our last property I had a very small garden, so I was trying to fit all the small vegetables in it to grow more with smaller varieties, and I think overall it worked. I grew some micro cherry tomatoes last year, and they were amazing. I had so many. But yeah, so I'm actually growing some baby cabbage, just because, you know, I have the seeds. Granted, my garden's a lot bigger now, so I could probably look at the bigger cabbages now. It kind of makes me laugh because, you know, I started with a very small garden, and I'm very happy where I'm at now. It's just, I don't miss it per se, but like you had to start somewhere, right? And so it's funny how the seeds you own are for your garden currently, and you don't know what you're gonna have next season, you know? I'm also starting some horehound. I don't know if this will be big enough to harvest for herbs by the winter, but I started some this spring. I just haven't got enough. I want to try to make candy from it, because for like colds and things like that, horehound is supposed to be really good if you make it into a candy for your throat. I've eaten a few of the leaves of the horehound, and it is so bitter. So I don't know how it will be in tea. I really was like growing it to try making candy with it, just out of my pure curiosity. I am going to try just classic cauliflower. You know, nothing really special, just want to grow cauliflower. Oh, and the final one that I'm starting for our fall garden, which I might throw in a few more, this is just what I grabbed to start, is prize head lettuce. I got these seeds. If you're in the Kansas City area, check out Planters. It's an amazing, amazing gardening store. They have so many seeds, and the people that work there are always really nice, and they're very knowledgeable. They'll be game to answer all your questions. They're obviously not asking me to do this or anything. Anytime I support a local business that I love, or come across a business that just I feel like does their job really, really well, and it's a small business that's, you know, I just really like telling everyone about them. That's just something I like to do, because I kind of believe that if like it was all, I just believe in supporting local businesses, and I think the world would be a better place if everyone supported small local businesses and like had connections with the owners or the employees. And you know, it's a very large subject, but I just, you know, I wanted to call out like where I got those seeds. Everyone else probably recognizes. These other ones are from Baker Creek. Once again, a really nice family, like does amazing things for the gardening community. And don't ever forget, just like Baker Creek, they have amazing seeds, but don't ever forget your local stores, because you know they need support as well, and they have seeds, like really good seeds. So yeah, so that's what I'm starting. I'm going to pause the video here so I can show my process of starting the seeds. When I start seeds, I like to have a bucket of water and the bucket of potting mix that I've chosen or mixed together. Usually when you get that kind of soil, it is hydrophobic, where it kind of repels water. It doesn't soak it up very quickly. So I will pour the water into the bucket, and I don't know if it'll show. Yes, and then I usually let it sit 10 to 20 minutes. Honestly, last night I poured it and I mixed it, and I let it sit overnight. It's not going to hurt anything. If anything, it's nice and loamy and has a lot of moisture in it today. There's a lot of discussion about how wet your soil should be for starting seeds. I don't know if I have the best light right now, and this is actually kind of drier than I usually do. I like to be able to squeeze it and have water visibly come out, as well as you should have a nice compact feeling, or like the soil should compact really well. This is a little too loose for me, so I'm going to pause and actually add more water real quick. 1 second. All right, I've added more water to this. Because this is what I want. I want to be able to squeeze it, feel water kind of run out of my hand, and then when I open it, I want it to make sure it holds its shape, because that's how I like it. There's a few reasons, but sometimes my ability to articulate is not the best. So I have the moisture content that I want. The reason why I go for a little higher moisture content is because I use a soil blocker to start my seeds. Now, if you're in the gardening zone, the gardening world, you've probably seen these, and that they've really exploded over the past, I feel like year. I've just seen them everywhere. I've been working with soil blocks, I think for a year and a half to 2. And the reason why I like starting with them, for honestly healthier plant starts, I can monitor the moisture so much better than when I have plastic containers, or if I have, the plastic containers are like the other option. There's one other that I'm not thinking of that I know is pretty popular, but I've enjoyed the soil blocks, as well as when you transplant, you usually don't get the root shock in the plants. I've yet to see a plant get sick right afterwards. I've had really good luck with it, and I enjoy it, as well as, this will seem weird, but the best lettuce starts I have had is with the soil blocker. I have never enjoyed growing lettuce, which I know this year I'm growing a lot. That's because I've had such good success with the soil blocker growing healthy lettuces. I understand that it should be super easy to grow lettuce. You sprinkle them out, you know, brush a little soil over it, and you grow healthy lettuce. I don't know, I've had really bad luck with that strategy. So I tried soil blockers, and I've had beautiful lettuces come out of it. So that's why this fall I'm leaning in and gonna try it again to see if I have the same success. So what I like to do is I like to mound it up, like the soil up, just press down, and then usually you have to like push in. Now, when you start, if you decide like, ooh, I want to look into these soil blockers, you might read a lot about saying how, oh, be careful of overpacking, and that's like, to me, the big one. When I was looking into it, I was like, oh man, it sounds like this is science to get this perfect. Nah, it's not. I don't know how you could overpack these. I mean, I see how you could, but I just give it a firm pat and it fills in the voids. And then when it seems pretty firm, I just scrape off this. And let me grab the camera. I go to the tray that I'm starting it in, just pop it. And just like that, you have 4 soil brownies. 4 soil brownies for your liking or whatever. I then space them out a little bit because I don't like when the roots do crossover. It's gonna happen depending. I mean, for me, it's always happened. Some roots cross over. It is what it is. You still, even with that happening, you won't get the, I don't think you should get the transplant shock. So after I do put the soil blocks in, I usually do the whole tray before I start doing the seeds, which makes it a little more efficient. However, I thought for the video it'd be easier if I started here at just the beginning, but I'll do the whole tray with the soil brownies, as I like to call them. I will then line the seeds up. And so for this one, I put the Cordebo cabbage. I put the seeds in there. This one's still exposed. I started doing this, then forgot I was making a video, and I was like, ooh, I should stop so I can show this. Drop a seed in. I then put a little bit of soil over the top, as you would, and that one's set. I then, like for this one, this row, it's gonna be the prize head lettuce. I'm gonna put that at the top, and then when I get all the seeds in, I like to take just a simple like masking tape and pin, and then put the label right here. Like write out what it is and just label it down the row. I feel as if I've tried quite a few ways to label seedlings, and usually 50% of the time the labels get too much water on them, so they're illegible. I twist or turn the trays and somehow I get mixed up with what is what. So this has been, to me, a foolproof way of just marking the tray, because you're not moving your soil blocks. The only thing I would recommend with setting up your soil blocks in the tray is when you have all of them, I only like to put 3 here at the end or whatever tray you're using. That way when you water, because I like, you know, you just pour your water in, the soil blocks absorb the water through the bottom, which also teaches the plant roots to grow down and out. When I have it packed in here, like on this edge with around 4, which part of it's probably me watering them and the utensil I'm using watering, but I find like slowly the water will hit this and erode the soil block away. So that's why if you have 3, it's just like, even if you have, this is an empty space, you can just pour your water here without worrying about breaking your soil block up or hurting your plant start. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you're trying to start seeds, or like your first time using a soil block, or if you start and you see and you're like, hey, I know how she could be even more efficient. I want to hear about it because I love being efficient. I also love hearing how other people do things. That's the only way you can learn, is just ingesting all the information you have, be a sponge. So yeah, I appreciate you watching this video, and yeah, bye.